Senator Olson, yes, I do. Thank you very much for recognizing me, and I appreciate this opportunity that the circle grants me. And I really don't want to belabor this, but I'd be remiss if I didn't stand humbly before the Senate and describe my experience engaged in urban politics. I recently went as far as Chicago to help out a dear friend of mine who was running for mayor of that great city, and saw the same problem that I saw in my experiences in Massachusetts, that I saw in my experiences in New Jersey, that I saw in my experiences in Connecticut. And that experience is that very oftentimes there is a manipulation, trickery, and full-out deception with the absentee ballot process. It is the reason why in my great city of Bridgeport, which I love to the depths of my bones, is oftentimes labeled as corrupt. They talk about candidacy as recently as the candidacy of our great Senator Marilyn Moore, who ran against Joe Ganim, who won every single polling place and lost due to absentee ballots. Something that political scientists have commented on and talked about the probability of those things happening. And that's happening, I believe, at least in the places that I have visited, but I would be willing to bet that in every urban center from sea to shining sea, the same incidents are happening. The great General Pericles once stated that the walls of Athens will not crumble from foreign enemies, but from enemies from within, from their own destruction, domestic enemies. And recently we saw, rightfully I believe, the investigation of President Donald Trump in regards to collusion and in regards to foreign adversaries meddling and toiling in our election process. And we saw some of the highest law enforcement officers of the land looking in and investigating whether or not there was collusion and whether there was foreign interference. And they concluded that there was. And there were arrests made, and there were prosecutions made. And that was a threat. That as a Democrat, that as an American, as a son of a soldier, as a former cadet, I found offensive. I found something which was grotesque. And I found that we cannot, and I believe that we cannot allow that same thing to happen here within the halls of the United States. And I'll give you an experience that I personally had. When I was a younger person, I ran for a particular seat in the legislature and lost. And I recapped to see where exactly I lost. And I went back to a particular place where I saw 64 people voted out of the same house. And I said, that must be an apartment complex or a housing project or a senior center, or that must be a place where there's some sort of a complex where people are using that address to vote. And what I found, much to my dismay, that there was no building there. It was a vacant lot. It was an abandoned vacant lot with a mailbox. And I saw across the street, there was a parade of homeless people who lived across the street. And I went over there and I asked a particular man, I said, was there a building here at one point? He said, no, there hasn't been a building there for years. I said, do you know, and I ran down the list that I got from the town clerk's office, do you know this person or this person or this person or this person? And he recognized some of the names and thought maybe he knew some of the names. I said, did you vote in the recent election? He said, well, this person comes with sandwiches and some hot coffee and with some paperwork, and they tell me to sign here, here, and there, and then they take it off with a stamp, and you know, they're nice enough, so I just filled out the paperwork. I don't really know much about it. I filled out an affidavit. I notarized that affidavit. I brought it to my registrar's office. And much to my dismay, I was told that as homeless people can use any address they want as long as they have the ability to vote or some nonsense like that. Ignoring the manipulation, ignoring the tactic that was used, and allowing for this absentee ballot process to continue to exist. I'm sick and tired of my city being labeled as a place of corruption. I'm sick and tired when I ask for funds, when I ask for assistance, when we talk about education, when we talk about infrastructure, the commentary that's either whispered behind my back or told boldly to my face is that Bridgeport is a dysfunctional place. And if we're going to make America a great place, we have to focus on those places that have been pillars in the past and have to be pillars moving forward if America is going to be a place of promise and prosperity for all of us. And we have to protect the electoral process here in this great country. So if I know this to be true from a personal standpoint of what I personally have seen with the absentee ballot process, if I don't speak up, if I don't stand up and say something about it and say we have to proceed with caution. I understand COVID. I understand we want to make sure our citizens are protected, but if we allow people to Walmart, and we allow people to the mall, and we allow people to restaurants, and we allow people to a lot of places, we have to proceed with caution. Because if we don't, this great democracy, this great promise that we have will be corrupted from within, and there will not be a single one of us standing who was elected because of the voice of the people placed us here. So I ask the Senate to please proceed with caution and to look closely at what's happening in our urban centers, because this could be the story of the end of American democracy. Thank you.